everyone, welcome to LIMC Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the mind of real leaders and unveil their inspiring stories. I'm Sakshi Gupta, and on the show today, we explore the incredible life of retired Lieutenant Colonel Suunil Narula, a soldier turned into tech entrepreneur.
So, how are you, sir?
I'm very good.
Okay. So, being a lieutenant colonel and retired lieutenant colonel, and now being a normal civilian or normal citizen, how does it feel? Like, do you have any difficulties staying, or people around you have some difficulties? Or because I have heard na ki a person who comes from army or who has an army background is very strict on everything, like timings, eat, or them eating habits, meals and everything. So how do you adjust, or people around you adjust?
You see, it's everybody knows about this quality called the adaptability. So, I was lucky that I had to learn adaptability almost 8 years before I retired, because I went into a very special appointment wherein I had to deal with a lot of civilians and during Kargil war, and then because I was on the border, in Akhnur border, and suddenly on one day notice I had to reach Delhi and join in a very sensitive desk of military intelligence taking care of Pakistan itself. So at that time, then I started training myself that how to, deal with National Security Council, bureaucrats, this, that, blah, blah. So that maybe, kind of prepared me. Then finally, when I hung my uniform in 2007, so this I'm talking 1999, and I hung my uniform 2007. So this is exactly 8 years I got trained to understand what is a civilian.
I was not even born at that time.
So how these civilians, take you, what they see in you, how you have to, react to their reaction. So the only thing I compromised was I brought down my expectation, but I did not compromise my standards. So it's a very unique statement that you bring down your expectation, do not compromise your standards. So that means maybe, your standard of, suppose time management is very high. Your standard of discipline is very high. You expect a different standard of loyalty from your people. You have a different definition of integrity, because in the army it is either 0 or 10. There is no somewhat integrity. I mean, 50% नहीं होता उसमें. Civilian में ऐसा नहीं होता. Especially in business environment, your integrity is based on a situation or a transaction which is going through. So the relationship in civilian stream are transactional in nature, whereas in military our relationships are not transactional. It is like a bond, and there is a lot of emotion, spirit, soul, everything is involved, because you have to die. I'm telling somebody that okay, let's go, you go from left, I go from right. Now one of us can die. Well, that chap can say, sir, you go, why should I go? But it doesn't happen like that. Now why it doesn't happen like that is that from the beginning of our career, both for soldiers and for officers, the way we are trained and the way our psychology is developed, a lot of people can call it brainwashing or anything, but that's not true. That's the negative side of it, whereas I look at the positive part of it, which is like preparing you psychosomatically for the worst situation. So your both psychology and your physiology will get together and react, and you shoot the enemy. There is nothing in between you and that enemy, because at that time the only thing which is in your heart, mind, soul is the country, and you are ready to and there is a very interesting angle called the izzat. So like I'm from Jackalai, so in our regiment we have a different song which we call it Balidanam Veer Lakshanam. Same way, but it means the Balidan is the symbol of brave people.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is ingrained in you कि तुमको बलिदान तो करना है. So the ultimate sacrifice is, dying. And
Then
that
how like you guys, get this into your mind that you have to be brave enough. You can die anytime, or you have to sacrifice your life anytime. So don't your family or your personal stuff come inside your mind when you are in front of the enemy, thinking that you may sacrifice your life.
uh, it is a very amazing, reality of life that at that time you might have seen, so many war heroes stories before they died. And fortunately for you, during the Kargil war, the media was so hyperactive that, they interviewed even people like Vikram Batra was interviewed before he left for the second operation, and where he got Parabhi Chakra, and also he died. He died. So at that time he told, "Ye dil mange more," if you remember. So at that time he was not talking about, कि मैं मरने जा रहा हूँ. Because we don't
Correct.
start with the premise that we will die. We start with the premise that we kill. But
Right.
it is inevitable. In a combat situation, you really don't know. So sometimes, luck factor also plays a big role. And I also like that. I'm lucky that I've survived 3 times and I'm talking to you. Otherwise, I would have been on the wall like this, a good man, soldier, he used to be with us. So why I'm talking to you is because I'm alive. And I never realized that I may survive. In one of the combat situation, one of my very brave officer with me, who's now written a book on IPKF, his name is Colonel Kocha. He, with me, he fought like a shadow, and we were able to come out of a situation where nobody else got hurt, only I got hurt, and that too in the milieu. We don't know how I got hurt, because it was such a big firing from left, right, our troops, everybody, and we were just about 300 meters away from where people are waiting to congratulate us. We had gone into the jungle, overstayed, finished their landmines, finished their training camp, and their top leader, his name was Newton, who was expert on the mines, because of which our soldiers used to lose their limbs in the leg. That mine factory had all the Japanese batteries, Japanese stuff. So all that we had destroyed. And we actually shot Newton. He came back, we laid an ambush. And we were coming out. And his mobike, which he used to use in the jungle, we were carrying. And I was leading with 2 people in front of me with the rocket launcher. At that time, that brave officer, kind of saved the whole situation. And we were doing sporadic firing towards them. And slowly we came out, and the whole column came out. And then, of course, I was evacuated in a helicopter to the hospital because they didn't agree. Otherwise, I had already repaired my shoulder where I got hurt. So, what do you think? That time I was thinking of my family, no? What do you think? At that time I was thinking about maybe, though I was married at that time, about my wife, about my mom, dad, or whatever. It was not true. And at that time, we only think of that situation at hand, and how to save our troops, how to save our men. Because the motto when we pass out from Indian Military Academy is very clear. Is that your own life comes last, always and every time. So first the country, then the men you command, and then comes your life. So it is ingrained into us in the training in the Indian Military Academy.
Okay. So you also mentioned that you are having your own company. The idea behind, what is your vision or the idea behind the Electrobus, where you have mentioned that it's it's Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is related to that. So can you tell us something about that?
Very, very good. This is the non-military part of my life. So I had been, out of the army. I had to take a premature retirement due to some personal challenges of life and death in my family, and because of which I took a premature retirement after 23 years of service. And after that, I headed an American company for 6 years. I went to Washington for my training after New Mexico, and created a team of 900 commandos in India, in Pune. and due to the challenges of compliance, we had to shut that company down. And after that, I came in touch with Tulsibai Tanti, who's called the Wind Man of India, the owner of Suzlon, where I am right now talking to you. And with him, I used to have a lot of discussions about how he created this brand, Suzlon brand, an Indian brand, which nobody believed. When people used to talk to me, they used to think I'm a Dutch company or some European company. Then I used to tell them, no, it is a vision of only one man, that is Tulsi Tanti. Then they used to believe, oh my God, it's an Indian company. And so in that journey of 6 years with Tulsi Bai, and in the fag end, unfortunately, he had an unfortunate demise last year on 1st October. So before that, almost 3 years, when we were doing restructuring and everything of Suzlon, that time I used to discuss about an emerging need in our country of lithium-ion battery cells. Now that's the heart of the energy storage system. Any battery, how do you make a battery? Lead acid battery, that we put it in the car. And
Right.
everybody in the world is today talking of lithium-ion battery. Why? Because it has a very good energy density and it does very well. And energy storage system in the electric vehicle. And Tesla has made it more popular. Our dear friend
Right.
Elon Musk. But nobody ever thought that all the cells we are getting from China. And China 20 years back thought of capturing all the lithium mines and became a very important player. So I felt it like a challenge as a military man. As you face a challenge of Pakistan, same way China is a challenge. People look at it geopolitically. I looked at it from the point of view of technology. And with the help of my mentor, who's also called the father of supercapacitor, Dr. Rajendra Kumar Sharma from Pune, I was able to go through this journey in the last 2-3 years. And finally, in a government organization called Center for Material Research in Pune, CMET, we have been able to make the Indian cell, lithium-ion cell. So Electobuzz will become the first small-scale industry to start making Indian cell and not a Chinese cell, which goes into the battery. Today, everybody says that we are lithium-ion battery manufacturers. Ask them, where do you get your cell? They say China, Korea, Japan. So that's not Atmanirbhar Bharat. So that was my sincere contribution. Unfortunately, due to the demise of Tulsi Bai, I lost my angel investor. So now I'm waiting for retiring from Suzlon on 30th June, after which I'll start the journey. Good. You asked me this question, that how Electobuzz is an Atmanirbhar Bharat company. So you'll understand that once we make the whole thing in India and see the blessings of spiritual energy of Vaishno Devi, where I've been going as a small child, then as a Jackline Regimental officer in J&K, almost 16 years of my life went into J&K, with 2 years in Sri Lanka, 2 years in Belgaum. Most of the time I spent in J&K. So I didn't know that she was hiding a huge deposit of lithium next to her shrine in Vaishno Devi, that is Riyasi. Now the whole world knows that India has discovered huge stock of lithium in that district where Vaishno Devi is there. Such a big blessing. So I feel blessed that we don't have to worry about lithium as a rare material, because now India has also have a lot of lithium. So it's no problem for me to start making lithium-ion battery, because India itself has lithium. And being with the support of the government will think about it, that they must support small scale industries like us in supply chain of the lithium. So it's a long journey. I think within a year I'll be able to hold the cell in my hand and make a battery and show to the world that this is Electobuzz, and based on which we'll make energy storage system.
Surely you will be.
And sorry, I forgot to tell you that energy storage system is required because of intermittency of the renewable energy. So what happens? The sun goes down, so there is no solar power,
Right.
and there is no wind. Now what do you do at that time? Where will you bring renewable energy? So ultimately, coal-fired plants, they step up and they burn more coal to give you more power. So that is the replacement. Energy storage will replace that critical moment when in the evening and in the morning the demand of electricity goes up. जब आप घर जाते हैं और आप अपने सारे टीवी ऑन करते हैं, एसी ऑन करते हैं, रेडियो ऑन करते हैं, सब कुछ ऑन कर लेते हैं और पूरा गैस चूल्हा की बजाय आजकल हॉट प्लेट ऑन करते हैं, तो सडनली आप इतनी सारी बिजली यूज कर रहे हैं घर में. तो ऐसे करोड़ों घरों में और बिजली यूज हो रही है. इंडस्ट्रीज वाले शाम की शिफ्ट शुरू कर देते हैं, सो ओवरऑल डिमांड गोज अप. सारी स्ट्रीट लाइट्स ऑन हो जाती हैं, सब कुछ ऑन हो जाता है. रात हो गई तो उस समय डिमांड बढ़ गई. तो एनर्जी स्टोरेज सिस्टम विल मेक श्योर that you have round the clock green power, not only when the wind is there or when the sun is there. You'll have round the clock. So that is the challenge of energy storage system. Whole world is talking about it, but in India we were just as usual trying to get the cell, put it in the dabba, make a battery, and then suddenly your scooter goes boom, aag lag gayi. So nobody was bothering about safety because Chinese standards, they do not bother about thermal management. आग लग जाती है लिथियम में और सब बेचारे स्कूटर बिकने बंद हो गए थे थोड़े दिन के लिए, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल, क्योंकि सब लोग को आग लग जाती. So then they started working on the safety and all that. So the same battery when put together in a bigger quantity becomes an energy storage system. So simple. There is nothing big science.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay, like really very nice to know that. And of course it is made in India, so of course. So like you have invested your 23 years in the military, in the army side. So what are the skills or what are the leadership skills and values which you have learned in the military, which you want to pass it on to the civilian life or to the to the common people, or to also the people who are wishing to get into this field?
See, I mean, I'll answer it in two parts. One is my dedication of 23 or what I got. So it is something like we got blood transfusion and a genetic order, new genetic order. I have a new genetic order in which three things are guaranteed. That is honesty, integrity, and hard work. It comes automatically into our blood when you are in the military man. So one thing which you lack, which in army we have no problem because we work as team players. When you come out, so these three pillars come to you naturally. Now you have to find a fourth pillar to make your chair stand. Fourth pillar is the teamwork. So when we think of joining the army, that's the second part of your question. You have to prepare yourself with nothing other than love for your motherland. Because if anybody comes for interview and says कि सर मैं देश की सेवा करने के लिए आर्मी में आ रहा हूँ, मेरे भाई तूने इंजीनियरिंग की, तुझे नौकरी नहीं मिली और तू आर्मी में आ रहा है, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. Correct. Okay, that can happen. So let us not fool ourselves. At that time when we are young, we also need to prove to our peers that I've got a job. So army is like another job if you come to look at it at the subsurface level. But the underlying theme of the love for the nation has to be ingrained in you so that you volunteer to join the army, whether you're an engineer or a doctor or a simple graduate like me. At least you are able to serve the nation, because that will come automatically in your job profile. It is not, in one of my interview in the Red FM, I said that it is not that we are the only ones who are loving our country. Let me warn you. We should never have that kind of doubt or ego. Everybody who's doing his job in the right way is loving his country. The sweeper who's taking care of the streets, he loves the country because he's sweeping the streets. The cobbler who's sitting repairing, he's repairing your boots so that you can walk safely on the Mother Earth, is serving the country. They may have more love for the country than a military man. I do not ever question that. But आप जहां भी हैं वहां पे अपने काम को कार्यकुशलता और देशभक्ति के साथ अगर कर रहे हैं तो आप बहुत बड़े देशभक्त हैं. That's how I look at patriotism.
Okay, got it. So how did you get this in your mind that you want to go into the military side, or you are made for this?
Very interesting question. From my childhood is what, fifth standard. I started
Okay.
wearing Bharat Scouts Guides uniform, khaki dress, knicker, the knot. Started going to the camps. Then joined the army wing of junior wing of NCC, because my house was near my school. My school was on
Okay.
Mandir Marg. My house was also on Mandir Marg in Delhi. I'm from Hakot Butler School,
Okay.
which is next to Birla Mandir in New Delhi. In NCC, the benefit is if you're coming from far, there is a problem. School bus will leave. Now, how will you go home? So, people like us who join NCC will get to eat the samosa and that laddu which you get in the parade.
Right.
So that kept me going, and I kept wearing uniform. And then I joined the junior wing, naval, because you cannot be more than 3 years. So then I shifted. I said, no problem, I'll wear navy. With that, naval dress I used to wear in junior wing. And God was kind. When I joined the college, I straight away got into number 1 Delhi Air Squadron. It's a big selection process, NCC. And that is where I actually became a pilot. And if you must have read in my profile, I was lucky to attend the Republic Day Parade. And in the Republic Day Parade is the only place where the India level competition happens on gliding. And I became the best glider pilot of India.
Oh, wow.
But because of my left eye having suffered in my paralysis stroke in my 11th standard, from which I recovered and became a sportsman. And my eyesight could not be corrected, left eye. So I could not clear my medical in 2 medicals, naval aviation and the Air Force medical. And then the doctor who finally rejected me, he advised me that if I wear the specs, my eye will start correcting. And within 3 months, if I go for the army interview, my eye would be okay to clear the army interview. And I did that, cleared OTA, joined OTA in Madras. By the time the call came for Indian Military Academy, cleared that. And while in training in OTA, I shifted to Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, and became a regular officer of India. So,
Oh, wow.
in the uniform was all over me. Though my family wanted me to do IS, so then there also I said, if I do IS, I'll do IPS. I have to wear uniform.
That's great. Like, I was also very interested in NCC and all. I was an athlete, but same, like in 11th standard, I had some personal issues and I had to go undergo through a medical things.
Okay.
So I was never able to join the NCC and stuff. And
Okay.
so yeah, but yeah, I also love this NCC things and all a lot. Like, I love to see those uniforms and all. Okay, so finally, you have some advice to the people, or some advice you would like to share with the military leaders who are currently there, or the individuals who are interested in being a part, your
The
beliefs, and your beliefs, or your successful mantras what you have used, so that they can be a part, if they are the aspirants who want to be a part of who want to make their part to military career, the success mantra of yours. Also, some aspiring military leaders who are currently there, some advice to them.
So I'm no one to give an advice. Firstly, I can only suggest a few things which will help them in their journey in life per se. So when the ladies 4 into 100 meter relay was first time introduced in Olympics, so the lady who won the gold medal, that is the team captain of the team, was from America. Her name was Mary Lou Retton. And she, after winning it, gave a very humble speech, and she says, for me, the definition of team is together, everyone achieves more. That means she says, though I got gold medal and you took my picture because I finished the race, but the girl who started and the 2 girls who exchanged the baton in between, you did not notice they did it with perfection, and because of which all 4 of us stood on a pedestrian, got the gold medal. So together, everyone achieved. Now, this definition of teamwork is understood very late in our corporate journey. and very late in our professional career. So my advice to the aspirants is that you have to gain the knowledge by studying, because that's the written exam part of it. But when you go for the service selection board, or whichever way you want to get selected, whether Agniveer or any other place, remember to be a team player, because together everyone will achieve more. Don't think that you have to beat somebody. You have to beat yourself. You have to become the better version of yourself if you want to join the army, for which you have to work on yourself. Nobody should be able to force you on your physical fitness and on your mind. That means stability of the mind, converting that knowledge into wisdom. And that's what mind is all about. So
Right.
that is my advice to the youth. As regards the military leaders, they are doing perfectly fine. We are a great country, democratic country. Many years back, when I was a very young captain in the army, I was tasked to write an essay on nation building and role of Indian Army. There was a competition. So I still remember, I took advice from somebody, some senior officer, and I wrote the essay. In that, then I realized that Indian democratic systems are so deeply rooted that we cannot have, a military leadership looking at power ever. Our military leadership is dedicated to save the nation and serve the nation. We have no aspirations. A lot of people talk about this because you see it in Pakistan, in our neighbor. So Pakistan genetic order is very different from the beginning. So it has no comparison to our democratic values. So it's not an advice, it's just a suggestion to the people who are blue collar, discussion people on the various news channel. My dear, Indian Army is got a different value system. We believe in the democracy of our own country, and Indian democratic systems are very, very deeply rooted, very strong. Do not fall prey to any negative media war against our country. You cannot understand that media war is against you to start loving something else other than your country. So therefore, the only thing antidote you can give to the people of our country is not to I say, please don't misunderstand, not to watch the news. The day you stop watching news, you will never fall prey to media war. That is the first attack. And then in social media, now that social media has become so powerful that anybody can influence your life. So be very aware, understand the hidden agenda of every social media post. Just do not forward it just because it has come to you and you are getting convinced. Because हमारे ज़माने में एक पोस्टर लगा होता था इंडियन आर्मी में अपने वॉल के ऊपर कि अफवाहें फैलाने वाले देश के दुश्मन होते हैं. I remember as a captain. So this is called something mongering. What do you call that? I mean, when you spread the rumor mongering.
Right.
So don't fall prey to rumor mongering, because there are very, very inimical forces working against India, because India is going to become superpower. There is an intervention from the universe and the Indian system is going in a different direction. It may happen much before 2050, I can tell you, because we are a very powerful armed forces and we have a very powerful and deep-rooted democracy. That's the only thing I want to say in here.
Okay, that's really good to know that we still have people like you, because just now you said about rumors. So I have one question, that there are rumors everywhere. You said that you had a poster there, Afwaho wala. So we have a lot of people in corporate world as well, who just spread out things. You can say spread out fake things, rumors. You can say spread out rumors, and people are there, who do believe in it. That, let's take an example. There's someone who's working on something or the other, but there's also someone who thinks that that person is not working.
Okay.
Right. So of course, you must have seen in this in your army days as well, that even though you work a lot, people are there to point out that no, you've not done this, or no, you've not,
Understood.
gone through this. Yeah.
Yeah,
So how would you explain these things? That how can people not trust on those things, because of course they'll not know the correct thing.
okay. So very good question. So from the World War II, World War I days, I must tell you, we used to drop leaflets in the enemy territory. We used to send aircraft,
Okay.
distribute leaflet, they would read कि तुम्हारा जो नेता है वो बिल्कुल बेकार है, तुम लोग सरेंडर करो और ये अपनी आर्मी को मजबूर करो. हाँ, ऐसे लीफलेट उधर जाके डाल के आते थे, फिर हम इधर से अटैक करने जाते थे. तो दिस यूज्ड टू बी कॉल्ड साइकोलॉजिकल वॉरफेयर. एंड
Okay.
देयर वाज अनदर नेगेटिव टर्म कॉल्ड प्रोपेगेंडा. Propaganda political term, military term is psychological warfare. Over a period of time, the psychological warfare has evolved and become a new subject called perception management.
Okay.
So they manage your perception. In that management, your perception about me can be managed. Very simple. Okay, sometime in media you will hear like there was a report against a very big businessman of India. Whole media went against. Whole country thought he's a thief. Slowly everybody started realizing that media, the person who made that report, was actually funded by CIA. American interest was against us to bring us down because the Indian business houses were acquiring. Reliance has gone and acquired sodium ion technology on
Right.
cash deal. वो 25 साल से मेहनत करते हमारे रिलायंस वाले गए बोले ये पकड़ अपने 120 मिलियन के नाउ गिव मी दिस ट्रक. सो इंडिया इज गोइंग लाइक दैट. दे आर ऑल सरप्राइज बिकॉज वो सोचते हैं ये तो हमारा काम था. ये इंडियन कहाँ से
Right.
पैदा हो गए इतने बड़े बड़े जो आके हमारी हर कंपनी को एक्वायर कर. मतलब पूरे ऑस्ट्रेलिया का कोल हमारे अंडर आ चुका है. ऐसा सोचिए आप. व्हाई? बिकॉज आवर बिजनेस
Wow.
एंटरप्राइज इज सुपर. Our business acumen is super. So they're all wanting to bring us down. So we must be aware. The nation has to wake up. And why the nation doesn't wake up is, if you go back to our Vedic Gyan, there are three things which God ensured as a negative karma in you. That is anger and foolishness. Of course, this is the theory of Buddha. So I'm calling Buddha because every yug, different people came. Ram came, then Krishna came. They all came as avatars to, give us messages, So, you must understand that if we do understand our weakness, and that's why you know that I'm going towards spirituality a little bit in this topic, is greed, anger, and foolishness. What is foolishness? Is believing such things and not having the wisdom to understand and make a difference between fake and real. Okay?
Okay.
Forget the greed. All of us are greedy. We want more. Dil मांगे more. Greedy. हम सब हैं. Anger, of course. There are people. You remember the movie Welcome? Control, Shetty control.
Right.
So, that kind of control. But what about your thought process? So, moment you are able to overcome your greed, your anger, and your foolishness, which is what I am trying to tell you, your perception cannot be managed by any inimical strength against India. So you must wake up to the reality, for which you must go towards spirituality, do some sort of a meditation. It is my dream after I retire to go and fight in the parliament and ensure that spiritual literacy becomes part of Indian curriculum from childhood. So because nobody understands the difference between religion and spirituality. Unfortunately, we have overlapped the whole thing.
Correct.
These are two separate issues, religion and spirituality. So the spiritual strength of Indian youth will ultimately lead to Indian victory and becoming superpower.
Okay. Here you have mentioned something called like foolishness. Like the person who believes on it is someone who is getting fooled. Like he or she is not, understanding who's real, who's genuine, and who's fake. But how that person, will actually understand that
Spiritual
this
strength.
person is genuine. How?
The day you are able to go inside and look inside, that universal energy which is available to you will guide you to the right path. You don't have to go to Himalaya. You don't have to sit in a temple. You just have to sit in the balcony of your house. But in a good time when there is good air, which is naturally early morning, and so you can just sit and do some meditation, do some pranayam, and enjoy the Vedic science of India by practically applying it to you. No question anybody can fool you. It will charge your neurons in your brain so beautifully that and the difference between right and wrong, and that is what is called right path and the wrong path and the middle path. So I'm not saying that you become a Baba or something and you start doing whatever. It's not that. I'm trying to tell you that each Indian in his own religion must go and understand that what that religion is teaching you. If it's teaching you fasting, you fast. If it's teaching you meditation, meditate. If it is teaching you chanting, you chant. If it is teaching you, you believe in the power of Sabka Malik Ek, you believe in that, as Sai Baba says.
Okay. So, yeah, this was it, sir. These were all like my questions, as well as the common questions which we usually get in our mind when we hear that we are that a person is a military person or a military personnel. So these are few questions which personally I as well as my team had. So yeah, that was it. Thank you so much for being here and answering all of our questions. So yeah, thank you, sir.
I really,
Do you
really
have
enjoyed
anything?
it. Yeah, so I just want to wish good luck to your platform. Do well. It's a very good thought that you reach out to people from various streams of life, understand everyone's point of view, then make a comprehensive point of view and spread that knowledge to the Indian populace, because now online media has become very popular. Use it for the right purpose and do this kind of service as LIMC is doing. My best wishes. That's the only thing I can say. And Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir. Thank you so much, and we wish you the same for the Electrobus.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.